Look at these pretty roses the Lord made. So we're going to do another psalm because we got some pretty roses. Psalm 77. To the chief musician, to Jeduthun, a psalm of Asaph. I cried unto God with my voice. The book of Psalms, book 3, Psalm 77. To the chief musician, to Jeduthun, a psalm of Asaph. I cried unto God with my voice, even unto God with my voice, and he gave ear unto me. In the day of my trouble I sought the Lord. My soul ran in the night, and ceased not my soul. Refused to be comforted. I remember God and was troubled. I complained and my spirit was overwhelmed. Selah, thou holdest mine eyes waking. Thou holdest mine eyes waking. I am so troubled that I cannot speak. I have considered the days of old, the years of ancient times. I call to remembrance my song in the night. I commune with mine own heart, and my spirit made diligent search. Will the Lord cast off forever, and will he be favorable no more? Is his mercy clean gone forever? Doth his promise fail forevermore? Hath God forgotten to be gracious? Hath he in anger shut up his tender mercies? Selah. And I said, this is my infirmity, but I will remember the years of the right hand of the Most High. I will remember the works of the Lord. Surely I will remember thy wonders of old. I will meditate also of all thy work, and talk of thy doings. Thy way, O God, is in the sanctuary. Who is so great a God as our God? Thou art the God that doest wonders. Thou hast declared thy strength among the people. Thou hast with thine arm redeemed thy people, the sons of Jacob and Joseph. Selah. The waters saw thee, O God, the waters saw thee. They were afraid. The depths also were troubled. The clouds poured out water. The sky sent out a sound. Thine arrows also went abroad. The voice of thy thunder was in the heaven. The lightnings lighted the world. The earth trembled and shook. The way is in the sea, and thy path in the great waters, and thy footsteps are not known. Thou leddest thy people like a flock by the hand of Moses and Aaron. Psalm 78, Mashil of Asaph. Give ear, O my people, to my law. Incline your ears to the words of my mouth. I will open my mouth in a parable. Okay. What's that foreshadowing? Let's see he's gonna say, or is this foreshadowing Christ? I will utter dark sayings of old, which we have heard and known, and our fathers have told us. We will not hide them from from their children, shewing to the generation to come the praises of the Lord and his strength and his wonderful works that he hath done. For he established a testimony in Jacob and appointed a law in Israel, which he commanded our fathers, that they should make them known to their children, that the generation to come might know them, even the children which should be born, who should arise and declare them to their children, that they might set their hope in God, and not forget the works of God, but keep his commandments, and might not be as their fathers, a stubborn and rebellious generation, a generation that set not their heart aright, and whose spirit was not steadfast with God. The children of Ephraim, being armed and carrying bows, turned back in the day of battle. They kept not the covenant of God, and refused to walk in his law. And forgot his works and his wonders that he had shewed them. Marvelous things did he in the sight of their fathers, in the land of Egypt, in the field of Zoan. He divided the sea and caused them to pass through, and he made the waters to stand out as an heap. In the daytime also he led them with a cloud, and all the night with a light of fire. Right? And that's exactly what was constantly over the tabernacle once that got established. He clave the rocks in the wilderness and gave them drink as out of the great depths. He brought streams also out of the rock and caused waters to run down like rivers. Remember when Moses hit the rock? I have a personal disagreement with people because, I think the reason Moses wasn't allowed to go over to be in the land of Canaan, into the promised land, well, people say it's because he cursed when he hit the rock, right? This time right here, when they're talking about right here. I don't think that's the reason. I think the reason he killed that guy, the slave master, the Egyptian slave master. Yeah, and I think it was even more than self-defense. It's like they're just going around like killing people, working them to death. So I think it's self-defense. But so he saw this guy whipping and almost killing this guy one day, and he saw it, and he just couldn't stand it. And I don't see anything wrong with that. And he got rid of him. But the Hebrew slaves that were working, who were not getting beat, also, and I don't understand this part either. They should have been like, yeah, Moses, right on, thank you. But they're like, the next day, right? They're like, oh, what are you going to do? Kill us like you killed the Egyptian? Like, what smart asses what kind of smart asses are they? Right? He's like totally, look what God did. Like in any normal place, everybody'd be like, oh, thank you, right? They were totally horrible. Anybody, anywhere, at any time. But poor Moses, they're like, oh, really? What are you going to do? Kill us? Like we saw you do yesterday? It's like, what? And like he totally had to go into hiding because these two snitches. I don't think he couldn't see Canaan because he hit a rock and cursed God. Come on. It might have been, though, if he cursed God. See, that's what people are trying to say, I guess. But in the flesh, really, he did kill that guy. And I think it was self-defense. But I think that's more of a reason. You're not supposed to murder people. It's like, look, that's what it says in the 10 Commandments. It doesn't say, oh, you're leading all these people through the wilderness and, oh, they're complaining day and night. They're sick of the manna and they're demanding, we need water immediately. Everybody's just freaking out. And you're the one that has to go and get the water. Okay, everybody. What it doesn't say in the Bible, he can't, be a little upset when everybody's on him like that. What's the problem? No, he killed somebody. Yeah, I did. I was on my other on my station. You go, that's not why. Okay, all right. I don't know, but, that's my opinion. Not that anybody asked for it. It's okay, nobody watches this. And if you do, God bless you. Anyway, so you're talking about the past here, and he led them with a cloud. He clave the rocks in the wilderness and gave them drinkers out of the great depths. And they still have this rock. Like, you can see it online. Like, you can look it up. People say this is a rock. And it looks like it. It was split in half. Someone should put a sign there or something. I don't know. Okay, I need to do it. But I don't know how to edit. So how am I going to do it? I have to figure out these 2 seed lines first. I got so many jobs here with this Bible. I got a lot of jobs to do. I really do. But that's good, because it's not boring. I'm not like, oh my gosh, I'm just reading it. Like, it just wrote like Charlton Heston or something. Not caring about what it means. There's like a few things going on here. It's not just, you can't just tell people to go read their Bible. First of all, then you have to understand it. And then how are you going to remember it? Look at all this stuff. Golly. And they sin yet more against him by provoking the Most High in the wilderness. Yeah, see? That's what I'm talking about. Saying, we are sick of this manna. Really? What do you want? You want some pigs and some shrimp at this point? What do you want? It's too much, though. I can't even say that. I would be the first one complaining. And people that go, oh, I mean, I think so. I would hope to God I would just have enough strength from God to just get over it. Just, realize it's just something else. I don't know. I would be the first one complaining. I would be the first one. I would. And people are like, how can they complain? They're getting all that. Yeah, you get sick of it too every day. We're natural. It's a natural thing. It's the flesh. It's the flesh. What can you do? That's why I'm reading this. And they tempted God in their heart by asking meat for their lust. Oh yeah, they didn't just say we're sick of it. They said, we want meat. God should have rained down some swine, huh? Ooh. No way. He's not like that. That's petty. He'll do something he's just like, that's nice. That's why you're walking through the desert for 40 years. That's nice. I'm sure you want a lot of things. Yea, they spake against God. They said, can God furnish a table in the wilderness? Behold, he smote the rock that the waters gushed out and the streams overflowed. Can he give bread also? Can he provide flesh for his people? Therefore the God heard this and was wroth. So fire was kindled against Jacob, and anger also came up against Israel, because they believed not in God and trusted not in his salvation, though he had commanded the clouds from above and opened the doors of heaven, and had rained down manna upon them to eat, and had given them of the corn of heaven. There was corn too. Huh. Man did eat. I don't think so. Man did. It says it was, so there must have been corn. Look. People are saying there wasn't corn. There was totally corn. And look, here it is again. Corn. Man did eat angels' food. He sent them meat to the full. He caused an east wind to blow in the heaven, and by his power he brought in the south wind. He rained flesh also upon them as dust, and feathered fowls like as the sand of the sea. Oh, he gave them birds. I forgot about that part. They had chicken and corn and manna. Like as the sand of the sea. So there's a lot of, wasn't there something like, once you eat it, don't, or is that something else? What, isn't it like wasn't it like gather what you can and no more for the day? Like don't hoard it. And that's what they would do with these chickens or birds, whatever they were. Feathered fowls, they're chickens. They have to be. What other bird is fowl? Is a fowl? Maybe giant turkeys? I don't know. And he let it fall in the midst of their camp, round about their habitations. So they did eat and were well filled, for he gave them their own desire. Uh-oh, this is really long. I hope it doesn't cut off. It's a whole nother thing. I'm going to stop talking, hopefully. They were not estranged from their lust, but while their meat was yet in their mouths, the wrath of God came upon them, and slew the fattest of them, and smote down the chosen men of Israel. For all this they sinned still, and believed not for his wondrous works. Therefore their days did he consume in vanity, and their years in trouble. When he slew them, then they sought him, and they returned and inquired early after God. And they remembered that God was their rock, and the high God their Redeemer. Nevertheless they did flatter him with their mouth, and they lied unto him with their tongues. For their heart was not right with him, neither were they steadfast in his covenant. But he, being full of compassion, forgave their iniquity, and destroyed them not. Yea, many a time turned he his anger away, and did not stir up all his wrath. For he remembered that they were but flesh, a wind that passeth away, and cometh not again. That's all of us. How oft did they provoke him in the wilderness, and grieve him in the desert? Yea, they turned back and tempted God, and limited the Holy One of Israel. Wow. They limited him. They remember not his hand, nor the day when he delivered them. That's what we do. That's what I do. Nor the day when he delivered them from the enemy. How he had wrought his signs in Egypt, and his wonders in the field of Zoan. What is this field? Zoan. Oh, they mean Zion, but they say Zoan. And he turned their rivers into blood, and their floods that they could not drink. Remember? That was a plague. He sent divers sorts of flies among them. There's another plague, which devoured them, and frogs which destroyed them. He gave also their increase unto the caterpillar, and their labor unto the locust. They did blight, and all the animals got killed. He destroyed their vines with hail, and their sycamore trees with frost. He gave up their cattle also to the hail, and their flocks to hot thunderbolts. He cast upon them the fierceness of his anger, wrath and indignation and trouble, by sending evil angels among them. I guess they just can't go where they want. They get sent places too. Ooh, they're ordered to go where he sends them. Huh. He made a way to his anger. He spared not their soul from death, but gave their life over to the pestilence. And smote all the firstborn in Egypt, the chief of their strength in the tabernacles of Ham. Okay, so you see what that's saying right now? Ham bore 4 people, right? 4 sons. Foot something. Here, I have it right here. Because I was looking at it. But one of them, 2 of them, he had Canaan and he had Mizraim. I'm not even going to look at it because I have to get through this quickly. And Mizraim is Egypt. And although Noah did not particularly curse anybody except Canaan, but Mizraim and Canaan, right? They're kind of close. I don't think the other 2. So the other 2 are Ethiopia. Let me see. Okay, I can't. This thing's gonna shut off. But I think that was a 1611 Bible, and I got copies, and they're all kind of messed up. They're like half pages, and I have to stick them together. But if we only had that in the beginning of our Bible, we'd be a lot better off. Really. But it's just, I don't know. Maybe it would be too many pages. But they really should do that. It would be really helpful. Also, if someone would just put a Hebrew calendar somewhere, because how can you, okay. But made his own people to go forth like a sheep, and guided them in the wilderness like a flock, and he led them on safely so that they feared not, but the sea overwhelmed their enemies, and he brought them to the border of his sanctuary, even to this mountain, which his right hand had purchased. He cast out the heathen also before them, and divided them in inheritance by line, and made the tribes of Israel to dwell in their tents. Yet they tempted and provoked the Most High God, and kept not his testimonies, but turned back and dealt unfaithfully like their fathers. They were turned aside like a deceitful bow, for they provoked him to anger with their high places, and moved him to jealousy with their graven images. When God heard this, he was wroth and greatly abhorred Israel, so that he forsook the tabernacle of Shiloh, the tent which he placed among men, and delivered his strength into captivity, and his glory into the enemy's hand. Talking about Babylon, right? For 7 years, right? And guess what it said? And for 70 years, the land kept Sabbath. Because all those people were taken out of there to Babylon. It says, you're going to keep my damn Sabbath whether you like it or not. He gave his people over also unto the sword, and was wroth with his inheritance. The fire consumed their young men, and their maidens were not given to marriage. Their priests fell by the sword, and their widows made no lamentation. Then the Lord awaked as one out of sleep, and like a mighty man that shouteth by reason of wine. And he smote his enemies in the hinder parts. He put them to a perpetual reproach. Moreover, he refused the tabernacle of Joseph, and chose not the tribe of Ephraim, but chose the tribe of Judah, the Mount Zion, which he loved. Yeah, he got fed up with everybody. Even Joseph. I think Joseph went over to I think he kind of stayed over in Egypt. Well, he had family there, really, he had family there really because Mizraim, he had relatives there. You know, these people are like giants. These are not normal sized people, I think. I don't think so. They're big. They're not like regular people. Look, they're living if you're living 100 and, 20 years all the time, you're on a different schedule, okay? And he built his sanctuary like high palaces, like the earth which he hath established forever. He chose David, also his servant, and took him from the sheepfolds, from following the ewes great with the young. He brought him to feed Jacob his people, and Israel his inheritance. So he fed them according to the integrity of his heart, and guided them by the skillfulness of his hands. He's kind of attributing that to David, but I think the Lord kind of just did everything. Yeah, well, it's because David listened to everything. David was completely obedient, except for that little Bathsheba incident. He's completely obedient.